What if I told you that you have the power to physically change the structure of your own brain? And not with some futuristic device, but just by deciding where to place your attention. I know, it sounds a little like science fiction, but it is a fundamental biological fact. Your focused attention isn't just some mental flashlight you point at things. It's the master key that literally unlocks your brain's ability to rewire itself. So let's just put the question right out there. What if you could become the architect of your own neural pathways? I mean, what if you could consciously direct how you learn, how you build skills, and even how you recover from injury? Well, the amazing thing is, you can. And today, we're going to break down exactly how that works, step by step. Okay, to really get this, we need to meet the two main characters in the story. On one side, we have focused attention. Think of this as the director of a movie. It's the active force, the one pointing the spotlight and yelling, this right here matters. And on the other side, we have neuroplasticity. That's the change itself, the brain's incredible built-in capacity to adapt and reorganize. So attention is the cause, and plasticity is the effect. One directs, the other changes. Now let's get a really clear definition of neuroplasticity, because this is so important. It's the brain's natural ability to change its own wiring in response to, well, everything. What we experience, what we learn, even how we recover from an injury. And the most critical part? This isn't just something that happens when we're kids. This ability lasts for our entire lives. All right, so if attention is our director, where exactly is the director's chair located in the brain? To answer that, we have to take a trip up to the brain's control tower. And here it is. Say hello to the conductor of the entire orchestra, the prefrontal cortex, or PFC for short. This part of your brain, sitting right behind your forehead, is the hub of high-level, top-down control. It's the part of you that separates a simple, mindless reaction from a deliberate, focused action. And wow, the PFC's job description is impressive. It's in charge of what scientists call executive attention. You know, the ability to plan, to set goals, to hold information in your head, and to make decisions. But maybe its most important job is exerting top-down control. It basically gets to tell all the other more specialized parts of the brain what to pay attention to, and just as importantly, what to ignore. But the PFC doesn't work in a vacuum. It can't just will the brain to change. To get the rest of the brain ready and receptive, it needs to create the perfect chemical environment. So let's look at the key chemicals that make all this change possible. Two neuromodulators are absolutely essential here. First up, dopamine. Now, we often hear about it with pleasure, but it's much more than that. Think of it as a relevance signal. When you're really focused, dopamine floods the system and basically tells your neurons, hey, pay attention. This is important. This is worth saving. Then you've got norepinephrine. This is your alertness signal. It provides the vigilance and arousal you need to actually sustain that focus over time. And this table really shows how it all comes together beautifully. You can see the PFC using dopamine and norepinephrine to direct our attention. But then that same dopamine hits other key areas, like the striatum, which is crucial for building habits, and the anterior cingulate cortex, which helps us notice when we're off track and need to apply more effort. It's this incredible, coordinated chemical system designed for change. But here's the catch, and it is a big one. It's all about balance. Neuroscientists have a fancy term for it, the inverted U curve, but we can just call it the Goldilocks principle. Too little dopamine and you can't focus, but surprisingly, too much dopamine and you also can't focus. That sweet spot for learning and plasticity happens only at that just right level of these chemicals. Okay, so we've set the stage. We have our control tower, the PFC, and we've mixed the right chemical cocktail. Now let's zoom all the way into the microscopic level and see how your actual neurons learn and change connections. Right at the heart of all learning, you'll find two core processes. First, there's long-term potentiation, or LTP. This is when the connections, the synapses, between your neurons get stronger the more you use them. It's like turning a dirt path into a paved highway. On the flip side, you have long-term depression, or LTD. This is where those connections get weaker from lack of use. It really is the brain's use-it-or-lose-it principle in action. And this all boils down to one of the most famous and, frankly, most elegant phrases in all of neuroscience. It's called the Hebbian rule, and it goes like this: neurons that fire together wire together. When your focus makes specific neurons activate at the same time over and over, the physical connections between them get stronger. This is the cellular basis of every memory and every skill you have. But you might be wondering,
how does this apply to learning a complex skill, like playing a song on the guitar, that unfolds over minutes, not milliseconds? Well, that's where something called behavioral timescale plasticity comes in. Your focused attention, held steady by your PFC, basically holds that entire sequence of notes and movements in your mind. It stretches the learning window, allowing your brain to link all those separate events into one single coherent skill. It's pretty amazing.
So we've gone from the big picture control tower down to the tiny little synapses. Now let's connect it all back to a feeling we have all experienced. That journey from struggling with something new to suddenly being able to do it without even thinking. The path from effort to automatic. This process follows a very clear path in the brain. First, any new skill starts as a goal-directed action. It's driven by that high-energy, hard-working PFC. It feels effortful. But with focused repetition, control starts to get handed off to a deeper brain structure, the striatum. And finally, with enough practice, the striatum takes over completely. The skill becomes an automatic habit, and that frees up your PFC to go and learn the next new thing. Now, this is really important to understand. This incredible mechanism is totally neutral. It has no idea if a habit is good or bad. The exact same process that lets you become a chess master can also wire in unwanted habits. This is what we call maladaptive plasticity, and it's how things like chronic pain pathways or even the learned non-use of an injured limb can become deeply physically wired into your brain. But, and this is a huge but, the fact that this system can create negative patterns also proves just how unbelievably powerful it is. And if we understand the rules of the game, we can consciously harness that power to drive incredible positive change. Let's look at some real-world proof. Take a look at this. It's called Constraint-Induced Movement Therapy, or CIMT, and it's a revolutionary treatment for stroke patients. To reverse that learned non-use we just talked about, they'll actually restrain the patient's good, healthy arm. This forces the patient to use their affected arm for hours every day. And that intense, forced attention drives massive rewiring in the brain's motor cortex, often restoring function that everyone thought was lost forever. And CIMT is not the only example. This table really highlights the pattern. On one hand, you have the sustained, forced attention of CIMT, which restores motor function. And on the other, you have things like neurofeedback, where you use targeted internal attention to enhance your own cognitive control. In every single case, the principle is exactly the same. Directed focus is the lever that creates real, measurable therapeutic change. So if you take only one thing away from all of this, let it be this. Your attention is so much more than just a mental state. It is the biological tool, the primary mechanism you have to grab the steering wheel and actively direct your brain's own renovation project. What you consistently choose to focus on is, quite literally, what your brain becomes. Which brings us right to a final and pretty powerful question. You are the architect of your own neural landscape. You are holding the blueprints right now. So knowing what you know, what are you going to build next?